Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. A very good day to you wherever you are in the world or across the lands and over the beautiful seas. I hope you're watching us, if not on our DSTV platform, on the World Wide Web on www.hilaal.tv. And you can stream that to anybody that has Wi-Fi and internet connection. I'm Kadwa Solomon. Thank you so much for joining me on this edition of Life Matters. And of course, this part, we are looking at the health portion and the Health Matters section that shows and explores the most important aspects of our well-being. This week, we're shining a light on unsung heroes within the healthcare, our nurses. As we celebrate Nurses Week in May, we're honored to have with us today two exceptional and extraordinary guests, Sister Hani Ali, as well as registered nurse Azra. Now, Sister Hani Ali, I'm very pleased to have her on as she is a trailblazing nurse and leader in the healthcare community. As the first nurse of pioneering 24 nurses trained at R.K. Khan Hospital, she broke barriers and challenged societal norms, as well as Azra Kadwa, registered nurse and exceptional emergency department nurse, who will share with us the challenges, triumphs, and rewards of their vital role within their industry. So join us as we delve into their inspiring stories and explore the vital role nurses play in our healthcare system. Let's greet our nurses online. Firstly, from KZN, we have Sister Hani Ali. Assalamu alaikum to you, Sister Ali.
Alaikum salam. How are you?
Jazakallah, I'm good. Alhamdulillah. I hope you are well. Your side, I know you have a very busy schedule. Although, alhamdulillah, in your peak years, mashallah, you still have the time and you're still going strong. May Allah keep you in that manner for a while to come to benefit our community, inshallah. So, mashallah.
Inshallah, ameen.
Amen. And then with the help of online, we have as well Sister Azra Kadwa, who joins us. She's apparently just around the corner from us, but she's online here in Johannesburg. Sister Azra, Azra, thank you so much for joining us, and assalamu alaikum.
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Thank you for having me today. I'm so excited. And yes, I'm literally around the corner, but it's my day off and I get to spend the day with you today.
MashaAllah.
So I'm really excited.
Would have loved to have.
I'm so excited to meet Sister Hani as well, because it's so inspirational to see like myself, the youth, and in the elder community of nurses. It's just so beautiful to see. And I had a nice chat with her earlier. It's really lovely.
So we have a nurse from one that started in the apartheid area and now in the millennium. What is it now? GX or something they call it. But we are in the millennial era. And to a nurse that have been experienced in the industry when things were really tough. So to hear from both stories, I'm excited to delve into this conversation. So firstly, Sister Ali, if I could start with you, why would one choose to study nursing, and why did you choose to study nursing?
You see, nursing is a path that not only leads to a fulfilling career, but also offers an opportunity to make a profound difference in the lives of individuals and the communities at large. It's a popular career choice as it allows individuals to use their compassion and empathy to provide vital care and support to those that come to you and need this kind of help. And my whole journey started in New Hanover, out in between Pietermaritzburg and Durban. And I started nursing from living there after my matric. Yes.
MashaAllah. Why did you choose nursing specifically, Sister Ali?
Okay, I just loved holding people, hugging them, especially children, and the elderly, I would wash their feet, I would clear their nostrils. And, we lived on a farm, and my father was my late dad. Allah Pak be pleased with him in Allah's house. And my mother, we had such an extraordinary life that my father was the foreman of the farm. And on a Friday, all the workers would come in to collect their rations, and they'll come with their children. So I'd run in to my mother and say, "Mom, you know what? This child is bleeding so much." And my mother would say to me, "What can I do about it?" So I said, "Give me a piece of the bed sheet that you kept for bandages. I would like to dress the child." And I was just amazed with nursing. We didn't have many papers and so on, but we had the Reader's Digest, which my father used as our educational tool on the farm. And I just felt like I want to be there. I want to hold people. I want to hug them. I want to make them better. I want to change the situation for them.
Inshallah, and Allah kept you around for that long. Really inspired by your story, Sister Hani Ali. Alhamdulillah, and with Azra sitting on the next picture, she's taken great inspiration from you being in the industry. So I think let's start with you now, Azra. What inspired you to become a nurse, and what keeps you passionate about your work in the emergency department?
So from young, like when I was younger, I've always been the type to care for people and always wanting to heal someone if I had the opportunity. So if someone was sick, I was the one making the homemade remedies, rubbing Vicks on their chest. And my mum, actually being a type 1 diabetic, I would administer her insulin from time to time. So I learned a lot about diabetes and foot care and just general health and well-being in a nutshell. So in high school, I pursued first aid, and I absolutely loved doing first aid. A lot of the traumatic injuries would occur in my cross country or the rugby matches, and you'd be the one to care for that person, call the ambulance, and that excitement, that adrenaline of helping someone always resonated within me. And I think that's also where I developed my passion for wanting to go into the emergency field. So after I completed my registered nurse, general nursing science diploma, I went into trauma nursing. And what keeps me passionate in the emergency room currently, it's that drive to help someone in a critical emergency almost immediately, thinking on your feet. And not only that, but actually making a difference to their life and well-being thereafter. So there's a lot of factors to it, but I must admit, I'm very empathetic, very compassionate, very caring, and I get to do that in a career where it's profound and where it's known to be compassionate and caring. So, yeah, that's about it.
So I want to get more into emergency nursing, because I'm astounded by how quickly things happen. I mean, within the government sector, it's crazy standing at a hospital and seeing what they have to deal with, the nurses and the doctors, because of course the nurses are the first port of call. But specifically that, so I'm interested to hear some of the stories. But Sister Hani, if I could just latch onto you quickly. You're involved with nurses on a daily basis, because now you transition to training, to educating, to being part of the community. What does a nurse stand for, and what, in your opinion, are the characteristics of a good nurse?
You see, in simple words, a nurse is really a person who cares for the sick and the infirm, specifically a licensed health care professional who practices independently and is, she's supervised by a physician, a surgeon, dentist, whoever she is working with, right? And then, whoever it is would need different kinds of nursing skills. So for me, a nurse stands for noble, understanding, responsible, sympathetic, and efficient. With this, nursing encompasses all aspects of promoting health, preventing diseases, and providing care to the sick or the afflicted and the people that are dying. So to me, holding this hand of the patient, taking them through one life to another life, and speaking with them and being there for them is the best kind of feeling of achievement for your existence. So that is what I believe nursing is, and that's why I want to be a nurse. You know what? I think in my next life, if I was born and I'd choose nursing as my career.
Wow, I can see you really make an impact on the community, receiving various awards, being in the industry for longer as what I think Azra and myself are put
Yes.
together. Mashallah, mashallah. Well done. Well done. Azra, you wanted to add something?
I just wanted to say that Sister Honey is so inspiring. Just listening to her stories, I absolutely love it. I love it. I really do.
So when we get back, I think Azra, mashallah. When we get back, inshallah, Azra, I wanna check in with you with regards to emergency, the fast-paced environment that you are involved in prioritizing patients' care. And inshallah, we'll delve more into nursing as we highlight Nurses Week celebrated in May, not just in May, but yes, it is a conscious week rather, that we want to make them matter and recognize them throughout the year as well, but specifically highlighting Nurses Week for the month of May. Inshallah, we'll chat more after this. Don't go anywhere. Assalamu alaikum and welcome back as we prioritize our unsung heroes on the show that explores the most important aspects of our well-being. Our guest, Sister Honey, who paved the way for nurses of color from her journey as a freedom fighter to her remarkable achievements in occupational health and safety, as well as Azra in the emergency department of nursing, to tell us some of her stories that she does delve into. So let's dive into the world of nursing and discover the incredible impact they have on our lives. So, I think, Sister Azra, if I could start with you here and sort of look at why International Nursing Day should be celebrated and what nurse means to you.
So, International Nurses Day, I feel, should be every day. It's where nurses are treating patients in their most vulnerable moments in life. And for me, I take that so special because you as a patient, so I'll talk from a patient perspective now, you're in an environment where you do not have your family surrounding you, you're out of control of what diagnosis you've been treated with, and that's where the nurse comes in to treat you holistically. We do work alongside a healthcare team, but it's the nurses who are the eyes and the nose and the ears of healthcare. And we are the ones treating the patient from head to toe. So by just us being valued, I think Nurses Day should be every day, because being a nurse is a valuable aspect in a patient's journey and in anyone's life. The other thing I'd like to put out there for Nurses Day is that something I live by is that every day as a nurse, you will touch a life or a life will touch yours. And for me, I love how that resonates, because when you go to work, you don't know you can't predict what's going to happen. And a patient doesn't know what's going to happen to them. But just touching that life, when Sister Honey mentions touching someone's hand and giving them that comfort, as a nurse, that's what we provide, that's what we promote every day. We are caring, we're compassionate, we are leaders, we are educators, we are innovators. There's so much more to nursing than just being a nurse. So it's just an important role that needs to be recognized and celebrated every single day. Oh, this picture is where we were teaching CPR in the community. You see, we go out of the hospital environment as well. It was an initiative that our private institution put out there, and alongside with one of our doctors in the team of nurses, we went out to teach CPR in the community, and it was so fun because we got little children involved. People who actually wanted to acknowledge the skill of CPR, asking us lots of questions on what to do in an emergency. And like I said, nurses are vital because we are educators as well. So just teaching them in the community was really fun. And we do it quite often, so it's really fun.
So the awareness is not just in hospitals, it's everywhere in the community as well.
It's everywhere in the community.
So Sister Honey, I'd like to ask you the same question with regards to the importance of International Nurses Day. Why do we celebrate that? Why do we highlight Nurses Week?
Very good question. You see, nursing must be celebrated. Since 1965, the ICN decided it will celebrate this day because it was the birthday of Florence Nightingale, who was the founder of modern-day nursing. And it was felt internationally that this day must be officially declared as the International Nurses Day. And we need to celebrate. Some of us go out into the fields. We offer outreach programs where we can conduct blood pressure, blood sugar testing, and those issues. We also go around giving education at schools. We educate communities, grandmothers. We run around doing things to show that nurses are here and will always be here for you.
Wow. I think with that in mind, I'd like to ask you if you have a particular memorable experience or patient story that illustrates the impact nurses have on patient care.
Well, maybe this would be a little bit humorous for everybody. I was a third month, a midwifery student at Peninsula Maternity Hospital, where we had to run on district to get our midwifery done in homes. And I'd gone as an observer with other nurses. They were all gone to the patients. And here we get a call that the woman is in labor. I'm only a third month nurse, midwife. So I had to go. The driver said, ma'am, we have to go. So we went over there in this little rundown. There were all the children sleeping. And I went in there, got the hot water and so on, and put out my kit, and here the first baby came. And it was late in the evening, and I helped with this baby cut its cord, and I was so excited, tied it up and so on. Then I was rubbing to pull out the placenta. And as I pulled out, as I was rubbing the tummy, I see a head pop out.
Oh, gosh.
And believe it or not, the father of those children was standing holding the lantern for me. And he just collapsed. So the lantern went down.
Oh, my goodness.
I had to feel
You couldn't see.
myself through this baby
Yeah.
and eventually find the cord and cut it.
Sure.
And I put that baby on the side, wrapped it up, and then I continued rubbing the abdomen to pull out the placenta. I don't know whether it be 1 or 2 or whatever. And guess what? There's another
Oh,
popping
my
head.
goodness.
Well, I tell you, I needed the loo so badly at that time.
Oh.
I was so shocked. And I'm trying to get this man up, and he's not getting up. So, but this baby had a breathing problem.
Okay.
Anyway, a mother got up and she held me, and I was all full of blood, and we dashed these 3 little infants and the mother to Grootes care, because that's where our emergencies went. And here I was, gasping myself, actually, and but I kept in contact with them for up to the time they were 15.
Sure. So 3 months into training, and you had an emergency case that I'm sure Azra can learn from. But after the short break, we'll assess some of the priorities patient needs in a fast-paced environment. Stay with us as we highlight nurses just after this. Welcome back as we highlight Nurses Week and the international role that nurses play, whether they are in your local clinic or the government hospital, private sector, or even visiting you at home. They absolutely create an environment that, something that your family member might not, well, maybe some family members do, but in a much more loving way, but also the medical aspect. So online we have Sister Hani Ali, as well as Nurse Azra, and they chat to us about the experience and how they find the nursing industry, why they went into some interesting conversation and stories. So just to give you a brief information about Sister, one of the nurses that we've had from the Apartheid era, alhamdulillah, that went into this industry. She's with the first nurse, Sister Ali was the first nurse of the 24 pioneer nurses trained at the New Indian only RK Khan Hospital in Chatsworth, Durban. And she was the first child in the entire extended Muslim family taking up nursing. And her family was somewhat ostracized from the rest, especially her uncles and aunts, with no Muslim girl that looks at other bodies and takes cares of other people. She also had to leave the country to Dallas, Texas, to get away from the police at the time as a freedom fighter. So some interesting stories she had. And when she returned to South Africa, she had lost a loving father, but still continue the love of nursing. And she's also the first black nurse to train as an occupational and safety nurse in South Africa during the Apartheid era, where only whites were offered that job. So alhamdulillah, Sister Hani Ali collaborated and was interactive with in the Apartheid sector and recognized as one of the first black nurses within the industry of occupational health and safety within South Africa, and is definitely somebody to look up to, as Azra said. But Azra, if I could bring you in here as an emergency nurse, how do you assess and prioritize patients' needs in a fast-paced emergency department environment?
Prioritizing patients is like the one skill you need to have in the emergency room. So we use a system called the triage system. And this is one of the skills that we use to basically prioritize our patients' needs. And so basically, when a patient comes into the emergency room, they go through our triage, and this triage nurse will assess them based on vital signs, their signs and symptoms, and their medical history. And based on that, they get a color code. And based on their color code, they are treated either as an immediate intervention, urgent attention, someone who's urgent but can wait, and a patient who it's not serious, but so they can wait longer periods of times. As nurses as well, I am a shift leader in the unit that I work in. So on my clinical judgment, you can just see a patient, get basic history, and then make a decision based on that. We also work hand in hand with our paramedics. So they pre-notify us if they're bringing us a patient perhaps in cardiac arrest, or a possible stroke patient, or a possible heart attack patient. And then based on that, myself as the shift leader, we will make place in the emergency room to accommodate these patients. And then this picture that you're showing there, I, as a nurse, like to do road shifts. So, as a nurse, you have the opportunity to work on the road with the paramedics, always to see what happens prior to patients coming to the emergency room, and working in an environment that has very little resources. So it allows you to keep that balance of using your critical thinking skills and just working with other healthcare professionals.
So as a nurse, how do you stay up to date with the latest medical research and technologies to provide, possible evidence-based care?
I like to call myself a fourth industrial revolution nurse. So in these days and ages, we have medical technology applications that we can use. Currently, I love using one that's called EM Guidance. It's specified to emergency medicine. It has the latest guidelines on certain medication, what it can be used for, evidence-based articles on why this medication or resources were created. I do attend regular conferences, seminars, continuous professional development trainings. I also do short courses in my free time, just to stay up to date with knowledge and to enhance my training basically in my profession, and also networking. So networking with other healthcare professionals is a big bonus, because you can learn a lot from others. So from other nurses, doctors, other healthcare professionals, it really is special to network and to learn from others.
Sister Ali, rather, if I could bring you in here, looking at the nurses that you've trained and that you've interacted with, what role do nurses play in collaborating with healthcare professionals like doctors and therapists that could possibly provide a comprehensive care in your conversations with these younger nurses?
Okay, Jazakallah for that question. I just would like one to understand that nursing, the roles of nursing is many faceted, but the ones that I dwell on, especially with the nurses I train, the nurses I lecture to, the conferences I attend, and other networking forums, I believe that the nurse has three major roles, and that is the independent role, dependent role, and interdependent role. So the independent role is what you have learned and what has been written out in the Nursing Act and regulations. It is what it is that you ought to be doing, and the onus is on you to do that. The interdependent role is when you are working with doctors, with cleaners, with the physiotherapist, with the patient and the lawyers that come in, just about all the other people that come in. You take patients to x-rays, you take patients to other places for examinations, etc. So that is the interdependent role. And then you have a role which is completely a role where you would have to work according to the rules, according to the culture, according to the roles in the different cultures, and be able to work in that role, which is which is very independent on you, right? So there's the interdependent, the independent, and then the interdependent. So those are the roles, and there are set rules for those roles, and you got to keep those all in balance. So you cannot now just look at a prescription that the doctor's given and he's exceeded the limit for the injection. You have to say, Doc, I think this is not the right one you wanted to write. So these are the different roles, and you have to be so tactful in making sure that these roles are played together like a well-oiled orchestra, and bring things together. Yeah.
With that said, comes back a memory with my second child where a nurse had said to me and calmed me down, during my second birthing experience. And this doctor actually just wanted to do a cesarean. And this nurse was so patient, and she said to me, ma'am, you do what you need to do, what is best, what you feel is best. Because the doctor, for some reason, was pushing for this procedure. And I was very uncomfortable. I got up, I left the hospital, and I don't know, I went to go find another doctor, and alhamdulillah, the next morning I had natural birth. But I would never have done it if I wasn't perhaps encouraged in front of the nurse, in front of the doctor, said, yes, doc, but we also have to advise, the patient of, what is best for her, of what she feels. And she came to me and says, although the doctor said A, B, and C, but in my opinion, I feel that this is A, B, and C, but you ultimately can make the same make your decision, because your baby's life isn't actually at risk, and you can make the best decision what you can. So alhamdulillah for that advice, and that was a nurse that played a big role in me having the natural birth that I did the next morning. And I take my hat off to all the nurses that can actually stand up to doctors when they do feel that something is just not feeling right, or the patient is actually more important. So with that in mind, I want to look at some of the misconceptions and myths around, some of the common misconceptions and understandings that could change possibly some public perceptions around nurses. After the short break, we'll touch into that. Thank you so much, Sister Ali and Azra, for staying online with us, but we'll chat to you just after the short break. Welcome back. This is Life Matters, and in the health edition, as always, we look at important aspects of our health and well-being. But in today's health edition, we're looking at highlighting Nurses Week. Those ladies that are around you, that yes, changes the bedpans, go and get your water, also checks whether you are still doing okay medically. And I remember being, in hospital with my kids and giving birth. Oh my goodness, the nurse checks up on you every 5 minutes just to check that you're doing well, that the baby's going, the baby is also well. So they don't just play a role, alhamdulillah, in the aspects of helping the doctor. They actually see to your overall well-being and care. So I think, Sister Ali, coming back to the questions around some of the common misconceptions and myths possibly about nursing, how do you cope, or at least how do you hope to change, public perceptions and the community about nurses in this Nurse Awareness Week?
I think one needs to be very careful. One cannot go out there and say to people, this is I'm a nurse and you listen to me, etc. What you need to know is those people there, like my father, a late dad, Allah bless him, said to me while he was leaving me in for nursing in a boarding place, and he said to me, "My Betty, don't cry. Dad will see you, but promise, Dad, look into my eyes and say, every patient can be your mother, your father, your brother, your sister, nephews, nieces. So please remember that." Now, if we carry that forward as we go and know that these people that are there lying on the bed looking at you are there, and they're one of those people that I've mentioned, how would you like them to be treated?
Yeah.
So I believe you go out there and show them what you can do for them. You get the blood pressure done, and you tell them what's happening, and always tell them what the blood pressure is. Always talk with the patients and not act as if you are somebody died and made you God. You know what I mean? So you go there, teach them, show them, tell them. After all, it is their body you are using.
Yeah.
You know.
So, Sister Ali, I've heard about sorry to break you, I've heard about the 6 C's. I'm interested to hear about that. I've heard about the 6 C's of nursing. What are they?
You see, that is very important. And that is just, I think, the first one is caring. You care with an undiluted satisfaction for what you are doing. Then there is the compassion. You know, you've got to practice this compassion because you have no idea what it is to have a catheter put into you.
Yeah.
You know, our nurse teachers used to say, okay, who's volunteering? Let's have a catheter put in you, you know? Or let's give this one a vitamin B co-injection. So you've got to have that compassion. Competence is very important. You know, as you asked, Azra, how do you keep abreast? You know, you've got to make sure you renew your skills. You are always going to conferences and workshops, etc., so that you learn more and you come and sharpen your skills, right? Then the next one is communication. So you don't talk as if you are a professor and talking to a group of medical doctors or, you talk with them in the language they would understand. And you know what? I have this happening all the time. There is this blind person. You tend to raise your voice when you talk to them. And you wonder, why do nurses do that? They're blind, they're not deaf. So you got to know who you're talking with and how you talk with. Then, it's so important for you to have courage.
Yeah.
Courage is so vital that I had the courage that day. I thought of it afterwards. I had the courage to make sure that I got all 3 babies out, rushed them to where I should. And you hold a person's hand and they're leaving this world. You can't sit there and cry with the visitors. You've got to have the courage to be able to face this because it's the end of life, and families don't know that. And the last one is commitment.
Yeah.
You need to be so committed that you be on duty on time, you give medicines on time, you make sure that their food is given on time, be trustworthy, be knowledgeable. Then all those put together will become your commitment. So those to me are my 6 C's with which I live on a daily basis.
So, Azra, from your side, can you discuss the emotional toll of working in the emergency department? Because as we just heard now, Sister Ali was mentioning, the connection that you have with your patients, her father's advice, and I'm sure on your side, coping with the stress and having to do things on the spur of the moment, the compassion, possibly even fatigue that even sets in. What could you possibly elaborate with regards to the emotional toll in working in the emergency department?
Happy to. So with the emergency department, we work with life and death. So it's one of those places where people come in, it can be like something really life-threatening. And there's times when patients come in where it's not life-threatening, but they do require urgent care. And a lot of these things that we deal with can play up on your emotional well-being, especially if you as a nurse are a mother, or you have a sister or brother or family member or friend going through something similar. At the end of the day, nurses are human. So we have a lot of what we call emotional intelligence, EQ, along with IQ, but we have EQ. So a lot of the times we can go through that compassion fatigue because we care so much. And sometimes the unfortunate thing is we try our best to save lives, and that doesn't always happen. And as a team, or the team you work with, the important role of what we need to do is debrief. So debriefing after a traumatic event or a trauma case or emergency case that we've dealt with is very vital and very important. We do also have, or not only in the private sector, but also in the public, psychologists or trauma counselors to help with those who really can't get through just the debriefing. You need to also have strong, courageous personality to work in the emergency room.
Yeah.
And in order to prevent compassion fatigue and burnout, because burnout is a topic on its own in nurses, with working in the emergency department or in the healthcare sector in general, it's very important to prioritize self-care, mindfulness, leisure activities and relaxation techniques on your days off. Myself, personally, on my days off, I have a group of friends that I like to go on walks with. And they also work in the healthcare sector. So what's sometimes nice is that we can shadow on each other or vent what we were feeling or what we're going through so we don't feel alone. It's also important to have a very supportive home structure. So from your family, your friends, they need to be supportive of the kind of work that you're in so that they can provide that extra emotional care for you. And what's important is just prioritizing that self-care as much as you can. Mental health matters.
So just quickly, within that, within all of that, do you have a story to share, that you could possibly maybe enlighten our viewers that stood out for you, a memory?
Stories.
Okay.
I think I can take the story and just make it overall, like in general. In the emergency department, we treat a lot of stroke patients and a lot of heart attack patients. But what makes a difference is that when you know you're actually saving this person's life, following up on those patients, for me, is one of the most rewarding things because you know, as a nurse with your team, you have done everything you can to save that patient's life. and following up with them is the most amazing feeling in the world, seeing that they're doing better. And that's the kind of impact I always want to have, being a nurse, saving lives, but having that impact. And let me tell you, when patients say thank you, it is utmost amazing feeling in the world to know you've saved a life.
So I think, Sister Ali, if I could end off with you, just to wrap up the show, what message would you like to share with viewers during this Nurses Week to appreciate and recognize the vital work of nurses? We've got 30 seconds to wrap up.
Hey, just to let our patients know, thank you for coming into our realm, coming in and asking for help. Thank you very, very, very much. We care about our patients. We care about all of you. But always remember, not everything revolves around you. Remember that there are patients next to you, patients away from you, your families, just about everybody. So let's work together for a holistic South Africa. And we love you as nurses. We will never let you down. I don't know of a nurse who will let you down, unless, of course, she needs some mental help. And I thank you very much for having me on this program.
I'm grateful for the time you spent with us on our Highlighting Nurses Week edition. Thank you so much, Jazakumullah khair, to Sister Hani Ali, as well as Azra within the emergency department. We appreciate your time that you spent with us and enlightening us. All the best till we chat again, and keep up the great work. Wassalamu alaikum to you. Thank you for joining us on this special episode of Life Matters Health as we celebrated Nurses Week and highlighted the incredible contributions of our nursing professionals. We hope you gained a deeper appreciation for the dedication, compassion, and expertise that nurses bring to our healthcare system every day. Remember, nurses are the heartbeat of healthcare, and we're grateful for all they do for us. Join us next time on Life Matters Health. For more thought-provoking conversation and expert insights, we focus on Burns Awareness Week with Dr. Tom Mendes from the Burns Unit at the Red Cross War Memorial Hospital. Until then, stay healthy and keep shining a light on the amazing work of nurses. Wassalamu alaikum and goodbye.